Waiting, waiting, waiting. There we are. We are live.
We're
Hi,
live.
everybody. Welcome to DevRunner. My name is Paul. I'm Floyd the Barber tonight, and I am joined by Ryan Opie from Runner's Corner and
Ropey.
Michael, who's going to be playing the role of Andy tonight. And we are going to be talking about, of course, our taper for the Mayberry Half Marathon and 10K races, which are taking place this coming Saturday, November 12th of 2022. It's safe to say that we have all been suffering from a little bit of taper madness. We're all a little bit, wound up and ready to go and get this thing over with already. But
Well, I don't know about you, Paul, but I'm quite okay with the taper this week, so I'm just gonna have my.
get those antioxidants going in that beer.
I was told by my podcast I was okay to have one, so I'm gonna have one.
There you go. That's the way to do it, sir. Get those nerves down.
Absolutely.
So, folks, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk a little bit about all the different things that we have been doing to prepare for the big race coming up this weekend. And we're going to talk about everything that you may want to consider for your taper, everything from the gear that you're considering running in your race. We're going to talk about sleep. We're going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk a little bit about cross training, strength work, and core work. The mental preparations that are necessary to have your best race, and of course, if you are joining us in the chat tonight, I encourage you to drop a question, talk amongst yourselves, have a lot of fun. And if you are watching this after the fact, if we've already signed off for the evening, please still watch throughout and drop a comment so that we can answer you by email after the fact. So, guys, just to get started, I'm going to ask you, Ryan, what is your race of choice coming up this Saturday? And what is your goal for the race, time-wise or in any other fashion? And just get us started. Talk a little bit what's going to be happening for you.
Yeah, so I just coming off of a pretty successful half marathon in Toronto, and I was originally going to do a half in Mayberry. Decided on a 10K, and there's a few factors why I decided that. One is I'm just coming off of an injury, and I didn't want to risk getting back into another injury scenario. And two, I thought I had never done a 10K. I've always done the half or full, so I wanted to try something a little different this time around. And I said, let's go for the 10 and give her a whirl and see what happens. And so my A goal is anywhere from 53 to 59 minutes in Mayberry. And
Cool.
I'll be happy with that. Yeah. Again, for me, it's just getting back into racing after injury and the pandemic, and I'm just going to enjoy the moment and just taking the new atmosphere around where I'm at now in the beautiful Carolinas.
Yes, very cool. So, just to give everybody a little background, I know Ryan can be a little bit humble about his running or even his whole history of fitness. So just to let to give everybody the super short version, Ryan is an incredible inspiration to me. I'm very proud to be able to say that I'm his running coach, because Ryan he's lost over 200 pounds in his journey to fitness, and at this point he's attempting to run a sub 1 hour 10K, and he's on his way to much bigger and better things. His performance at the Toronto Half Marathon blew my mind, and now here he is running a shorter, faster race, and I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to kill it. And like I said, I'm so proud of him. He's going to do amazing, and I'm looking forward to his half marathon this coming spring, which he'll be running in Berlin. So that's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to kind of leave that there, we're going to jump back into all kinds of details from all of that, Ryan. But I want to jump over to Michael for now. And Michael, talk about what's coming up for you this Saturday and what you are aiming for as far as like a goal time.
Yeah, so I am racing the Mayberry half with you, Paul. So hopefully I can hold my own, I guess, as far as paces. But hopefully my current PR is an hour, 34 minutes, and 59 seconds. So barely squeaked under 135. So my goal would be to beat that. So we'll see. We'll see.
Very cool. So how are you feeling going in? Like, I know, just as a quick bit of background for everybody, Michael has 2 young children. So the training for him has been extra hard because, when you've got 2 young kids, trying to find sleep is about impossible. So again, I'm so proud of Michael because he has just killed it in this training cycle, and done some really hard things on super tired legs. A couple of weeks ago, I went down to South Carolina where Michael lives, and we ran a long run together, and it was the longest run of Michael's life. He went 16 miles, and I'll tell you what, folks, it was no easy 16 miles. It was like super hilly, and Michael really impressed me because not only did he cover the distance, but the last 4 miles of that run, he was crushing it. I mean, he was moving. I mean, we went like 12 miles really hard, and then Michael just opened up and just like ran the 4 last miles of that run, the fastest I've ever seen him run. So assuming Michael can get some rest, I've got all the confidence in the world that he's going to PR on Saturday. So with that said, folks, let's talk a little bit about the fun stuff before we get into the details of training and everything that goes into making sure you're recovered. But let's talk a little about the gear that we are going to be wearing for the race. Ryan, talk about your shoes of choice, or what you've whittled it down to as the possibilities, and any clothing or other gear that you're going to be wearing on race day.
So I had it narrowed down to a couple of choices for shoe choices. One was the Tri 14s, the Asics. I've worn them before. I was wearing them pretty regularly before I got hurt, and I absolutely love them. They're a nice, fast shoe. They're not a there's no carbon in them. They're just designed to go fast, and I absolutely really like them. The other one choice I was considering is the Tempest again, which is what I wore for Toronto. And it's funny enough, that's actually where I set my 5K PR this last weekend. I was like, well, maybe I should wear these things again. And I said, no, I probably shouldn't. So really happy with when trying the tries out. And we'll see. Now I'm looking at the forecast, so that's going to be dependent on what we're wearing. It looks like about 3 to 4 degrees in the morning when we're starting in the morning. So I'll have some base layers on, and then I'm just going to wear, if it should be sunny, so I'll probably wear a singlet and running my shorts, and I can't remember the name of the socks that Jen got me, which I really like too. So that's my gear of choice. So
very cool. Yeah, and you bring up a good point, Ryan. Right now, as of the last time I checked, which is about 2 hours ago, weather.com is saying that we should expect 53 degrees on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and about 60% humidity. So I personally would prefer like 40 degrees and 30% humidity, but I'll take what I can get. If things shift a little bit, then we're actually looking at rain. So hopefully the weather stays right where it's at.
Yep.
So Michael, please talk a little bit about your shoe choice for race day and any other gear that you're going to be wearing.
Yeah, so I was sort of looking at the weather as well. I'm probably going to wear just some Nike short tights and a Aeroswift singlet, and then the Vaporfly Next% 2s. That's pretty much my shoe of choice with anything fast.
Yeah, gotcha. Cool. So we're going to have that in common, actually. Let me see if I can do this in the small amount of space we have here. And I'm obviously way too brightly lit in this studio. But,
you got the
yeah, there's the Vaporfly 2s. I wore them for the first time today, folks. Talk about cutting it close. I know nothing new on race day, right? Nothing new on race day, but now I can say I've tried them. I went out for a 6-mile run today and did 3.5 miles in the middle of that run, and got it down to and even faster than race pace today. So I was really impressed by the shoe. Let me say that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to be wearing, along with some short tights. And for me, it's going to be a Nike singlet, but it's going to be the Mylar singlet, because it's super duper, like, you can see through the thing. It's a little bit embarrassing, but I figured that'll help because of the humidity on the day. So I'm going to be wearing as little as I possibly can get away with.
Yeah, it's going to be a little warmer than I was hoping.
Yeah. I'm just hoping, as long as the humidity isn't up, as long as the heat doesn't stick to us, I think we stand a chance at running some PRs.
What do you think
go ahead.
What do you think the course is going to be like? Because I mean, they're expecting like maybe 3-4 inches of rain on Friday.
Yeah. Now here's the very good news: is that the entire course, like the first mile and a quarter, the race starts right on Main Street in Mayberry, which the real name of Mayberry, folks, is Mount Airy, North Carolina. If you want to look it up, if you want to Google it. And the Main Street has a real Floyd's barber shop. It's got all the stuff that this show from the 60s was all about. And the Main Street starts on a high plateau. So the start line is right there. And then you spend the first mile just bombing downhill. You hang a sharp left and you descend into one of the town parks. And from there, the entire course, it doesn't matter whether you're running the 10K or the half marathon. Hey, Susie, good to see you.
Hey, Susie.
The entire greenway that most of the races run on is actually paved. So, as long as it's not raining when we're running, I don't think any of us should have a problem with our shoes actually getting some good grip on that tarmac. So, I'm not too worried about that, as long as the rain has subsided by the time the gun goes off. Anybody who's out there in the chat, I can see there are 4 people watching at this moment. So please jump in if you've got any questions. The more off the wall, the better. So Susie says, hi, good to see you guys. Let me bring that up on screen.
I think guys, Susie's got a marathon coming up soon too. Yeah.
Susie's going to be running Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And then next spring, she's got a Disney twofer coming up. She's running a half marathon and a marathon back to back. So,
Susie, are you running the Dopey or challenge, or what are you doing for Disney this year round?
Yeah, she says Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
I thought you said something about running the Dopey challenge for Disney or something like that.
Yeah, that's coming up in January, I think, isn't it, Susie?
Claire's running the same thing. So
yeah.
Claire.
Oh, cool. Hey, Claire, if you're out there, if you're watching this on
the Dopey is the 5K, 10K, half, and full, right?
Yeah, you do them all.
And Goopy is the half and the full.
I think Susie can do them all. Susie, do them all.
I'll tell you what, Susie is like Iron Woman. She is going to kill it. She is going to kill it. So cool, guys. Let's keep this conversation moving. I want to talk a little bit. Let's start off with something that I think too many runners, non-pro runners, overlook, and that's the importance of sleep. And I'm dying to hear some about this from Michael, because as we said earlier, with 2 young kids, he is sleep challenged on an almost constant basis. So I guess just to make a couple of quick points, the reason why sleep is so important goes beyond the obvious stuff. Sleep is when body repairs happen. That's when all those micro tears in your muscles get healed, and that's when you're in REM sleep. So very important stuff. And I also want to point out that if you are challenged to get a full 8 hours of sleep, naps really do work. If you can grab a midday nap, a little siesta there, then do it. All the pro runners do that. It's actually part of their daily schedule, and it works for us wannabes as well. So, Ryan, how does sleep work for you? Are you like highly caffeinated, too highly caffeinated to be able to get a full night's sleep?
Well, I'm pretty fortunate with with Jen. It's so easy. Like the sleep patterns that we have, and I nap during the day. So when Jen's at work or not, I do schedule my naps, and I actually do a lot of meditation. self-medication.
Very cool. I want to talk a lot about that later.
Yeah, because I will actually like basically put myself in a dark room and put music on, and then just get my I guess what I got feng shui, everyone would call it, on the right mindset of what I need to tackle. So that's how I've always done it. My sleep during the course of the day to day is off and on. Like I get 6 to 7 hours like normally, and so that part's good. So yeah, I think it's just regular sleeping and just making sure I take that time to have those rests during the day where I need it. And that's
I'm
what
so
I try
glad
to do.
hear that. And I'm sure that goes a long way to making you feel fresh when you're going out there and like pushing hard like you are in your training. Everybody, Ryan's training he amazes me because, I'll make out like a 3-week or a month-long chunk of his training schedule. And every day I check in either on Strava or I see what he's posted on Instagram. And it's like, check, check, check. He's such a consistent runner. It's like he just gets it done. It's like it's like clockwork. Ryan just gets it done, and I'm sure those naps really go a long way towards making that possible.
It's not easy all the time. I tell you, there's days like even this morning I was waking up and I was like, do I want to do my 5 today? Like I don't really need to do the 5. My beloved is here.
Hey, Jen, how's it going? For those of you not in the know, Jen is Ryan's significant other and vice versa.
Yeah. I have to behave now. She's in the other room. She can
she's watching.
She can throw things at me now. So
hey, Kirsten, how's it going? Awesome to see you, Kirsten. Thank you for dropping in.
Hi, Kirsten.
Everybody, if you don't know Kirsten Quickfit, oh my goodness. When this live stream is over, get over to Kirsten Quickfit's channel. She is just like the health guru trainer extraordinaire. When I find extra energy that I need to burn, I go directly to Kirsten's channel, and she just destroys me with her awesome workouts. So definitely make sure you check her out. Michael, tell me a little bit about your sleep and the challenges therein.
Yeah, it's not very existent. Especially with the time change, like the kids are getting up at like 4:30 in the morning or so. So it's just really short. And actually, like several weeks ago, I got so like aggravated at my like Garmin, my watch, tracks the sleep and does the body battery and all that stuff. And I just like, I removed those features from the watch. I took it off because I was like tired of it telling me that, I'm about to die.
Yeah,
so I was like, I just don't want to see it anymore. So I took it off. And yeah, so I kind of feel better now that I'm not like looking at that anymore.
Yeah, gotcha. But I'll tell you what, for the lack of sleep, you are not really showing it in your training. I mean, I've been really impressed. I worked with Michael last year when he was building towards a 1:35 goal time for the Myrtle Beach mini marathon. And he nailed that. As he said, he ran a 1:34.59. His goal was 1:35. So with a second to spare, the man got it done. And this year, on all the big runs that count, I'm seeing Michael just, run stronger than he did last year. I'm sure he probably doesn't feel as good as he did last year.
I don't feel as good.
But sir, yeah, if you can find a closet to hide in and get some extra sleep in the next couple of days before the race, I'm sure you're going to go into the Mayberry half marathon ready to destroy. So cool stuff. I'm just going to, I'm realizing now for everybody who's watching, especially anybody who's new, I didn't say anything about what my goals are or anything for Saturday's race. So just to give you the quick version, my track PR for a half marathon is 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 38 seconds. My road half marathon PR is considerably slower than that. It is 1 hour, 22 minutes, and like 58 seconds, something like that. So I'm going in, my intention, my training goal for this entire block has been to beat my track PR and do it on the roads. So I'm trying for a 1:19.37. But in all truth, if the weather or tiredness or just having a bad day puts me in a place where I don't hit that 1:19:37 or faster, I tell you what, folks, I am still going to be utterly over the moon if I beat 1:22:58. So I've got all the confidence that I can take that number out. So I will go out of the gate. I'm coming out of the gate hard. I'm going to be attempting to run 6:04 miles the entire way. But if the wheels start to come off somewhere during this thing, I'll still be trying to hang on as best I can to try to take out that 1:22. Yeah, for me, you know, I'm a little bit of an empty nester here at this point, so I don't have the same sort of schedule challenges that Michael does. But nonetheless, I don't get enough sleep. There's just something about being an old man that doesn't let you sleep well. So let's see what we've got here. What are your secrets to success? Kirsten asks. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I like that because it's a very open-ended question, guys. Anybody want to jump in with that one? Is there anything that you think goes beyond maybe the usual points of discussion for running and racing that make you strong when it comes to racing? What do you got inside? What's in that soul that kind of drives you towards success? Let's frame it that way.
I think for me, you guys, it's making your goals obtainable. Don't set the bar to such an unrealistic expectation that you're setting yourself for failure. I know a lot of time when I started running, I just had a goal is get to that next spot and then go a little bit farther and go a little bit farther. And by doing that and maintaining the, like Paul said, the consistency in the running, the results will come later. And I think that's the biggest thing that you can do for yourselves is just set goals that you can obtain and, you know, have your long-term goals. Like for me, as many runners, my long-term goal is to qualify for Boston. And then, well, how am I going to get there? All these other races are going to get me to that big goal, right? And that's how I set it out for myself.
Wonderful, and it's a great outlook. I couldn't have said it better myself. Just small bites. Just keep at it. The consistency is so much more important than pushing hard on any given day. You know, you can have a bad speed day. You can have a bad long run. It doesn't matter if you're getting out there day after day, just like Ryan said, if you're just keeping consistent and you look at the long-term arc of your training, you're going to get better and better and better. And there really is no limit to how good you can get. If you're willing to put in the time and the effort over the long run and not put in big gaps and do your best to back off when you have to avoid injury so that you can stay consistent, then, you know, you can do amazing things. And Ryan is just breathing, living proof of that. I mean, the things he has accomplished is just like, it just makes me feel silly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, wow, I go out there and I run fast, but look what Ryan's done in just, you know, a few years' time. It's just amazing. So, Michael, let me bounce Kirsten's question to you. What's in that bag of tricks of yours? What drives you to success?
Yeah, I mean, sort of like what Ryan said, like definitely being consistent. Like, I feel like that's one of my greatest qualities, I guess you would say. Like last year when I was training for the half, like I didn't miss a single run. Like I just got it done. Like I hit every single run. Like I did what I was supposed to do. Now this year I don't know if I might have missed maybe one or two, but like they weren't really key workouts or long runs or whatever. But I've definitely had to slow it down on my easier days, like substantially slower than last year.
Yep.
Now I did peak at higher mileage. So it's kind of strange. Like I don't really feel like I'm in the same shape as I was last year. Like I don't know really where to put my race, my thoughts on it yet. But we'll see. I had a good workout today, but yeah, we'll just as far as keys to success, definitely like consistency and then taking those easy days substantially easily.
I think that's awesome. Yeah, and that's something you stressed the same point, Michael, and it's so important for all the runners out there, especially the newer runners. Like I said, just get out there. Just if you miss a day, accept that you missed that day. Don't try to make it up the next day and then jam a bunch of workouts too close together, and because then you overstress your body, you hurt yourself. But when you miss a day, the most important thing is the next day. Don't get 2 missed workouts back to back. When you miss one, the next one that's on your schedule, do it on the day that it's supposed to happen, but just make sure it happens. We've got a question here from Omar. Pretty straightforward question. Omar, I am 53 years old, so I'm running in the 50 to 55 age group. Yeah, there's Michael answered by text, but he's in the 35 to 39 age group. And
let's have a guess. How old do you think I am?
21.
No, higher. Price is right.
Gonna get some people in trouble here.
I'm turning 49 in about 3 weeks time here. So, 4 weeks time, December baby. So, in the 48 to 49 group range. So,
I did notice that this race, the age groups are classified different, or they are for me, and it goes 30 to 39, and not that 35.
10-year brackets.
Yeah, it looked like 10-year brackets.
In all truth, you know why I think that is. I see. Omar says he's in the same age bracket as me. I like it. And I think why that is, in all truth, Michael, for this particular race is because it's a small town race, and they probably don't have enough people to fill in the 5-year, those little 5-year brackets.
Yeah.
So probably just making it a full 10 years, which I think is cool because, I'm only 53, so I'm on the younger side of that 50 to 59 bracket. So I'm sure there are going to be some 58, 59-year-olds out there saying, "Oh, that young whippersnapper, of course he's going to be."
Another thing I was thinking about with this race, I noticed there was like 200 something participants had signed up the other day. So that would be by far, by 600 people less than anything I've ever ran in as far as like a half marathon. So, but I was thinking maybe it's more competitive because I was looking at the results from like last year.
Mhm.
And I don't know a whole lot about this race, but anyways, it seemed that like as far as like my pace range is a good bit more competitive. Now, when I ran in Myrtle, I ran by myself. Jack was with me and we ran together, thankfully, but we're kind of like in this pace range, at least for Myrtle, that is just like no man's land. Like we're not fast enough to be with the lead pack, and then the majority of the people are behind us, so we just ran by ourselves.
You are not very far behind the lead pack. You're knocking on the door, right? So,
no.
And another interesting question here from Kirsten, guys. She says, "Are there benefits to being older? Are there fewer runners?" To address the latter question first, Kirsten, are there less runners? I guess amongst the older crowd. I think that depends. I think what I tend to find is there are a lot of older runners in the 5Ks, and there are a lot of older runners in the marathons. When you're talking about the 10K and half marathon distances, I think the overwhelming majority are probably people in their 20s and 30s. But as you get into the 5Ks, you get a lot of older people who are just starting to find their fitness, and they're just running just to get out there and be active. And you get a lot of in marathons, the older runners are a huge portion of the crowd. I think it's one of those sort of marathons becomes kind of a bucket list thing for a lot of people. As they start to age, they want to be able to say that they've done it. Or you get a lot of people who used to be the super fast 5K, 10K runners back earlier in life, but now they're just kind of, in order to stay competitive and stay active, they're going after those longer races. not trying to burn the candle quite so hot so that you don't have to run as hard or as, blindingly fast when you're running a marathon as you do when you're going after like a 5K or a 10K PR. But are there advantages to being older? I would say yes, and that's all about wisdom, knowing when to back off. I didn't even start running till I was 42 years old, but when I look back at what I was doing 10 years ago, I used to try to train through injury, just dumb stuff. And that was just like, I refused to give in. I was like, no, this will go away by itself somehow. I refused to give in. And I would just take what could have been a small injury, and I'd blow it up into this thing where I had to stop running for 2 months because I had just completely wrecked myself. But I think as I've gotten older and a little more experienced as a runner, and even, become a coach, I've realized that nothing bad's going to happen if you take 2 or 3 days off running. You're not going to lose all your fitness in 48 hours. And that little bit of rest will save you a lot of heartache and a lot of physical pain in the long run. So yeah, I think wisdom is a huge part of being an older runner. Guys, do you want to go after that? Not, I'm the old man in the room. So how do you whippersnappers feel about that?
I am of the same mindset, Paul. Like, again, I only started running in my late 40s. So, but I feel now a bit more seasoned in my old age, as we can call it old age. And I listen to myself. I listen more now. I listen to what's being, like, especially since my last injury, I listen to what's being told. And before I'd be like, I can just power through this. No, like you said, no big deal, right? So I learned the art of listening. The Miyagi wax on, wax off, right? That's what I've learned. So
yeah, I think there's definitely there's a sweet spot there. So like when you get at a certain age, yeah, you're going to be. I'm not an elite runner, no matter what, but I think
I would beg to differ on that, Michael.
Yeah, well,
people see that time, man.
When you say someone my age, mid 30s, late 30s, or whatever, and I think that yes, that might be like the sweet spot for marathoning, but I think it comes from experience. So like, no matter, I've ran a bunch of half marathons now, and I can I sort of know like how I'm going to pace myself. Whereas I think I'm not really going to say like the older you are, like the better you are. I mean, I do agree with that to a certain extent, like definitely the wisdom, but I would say like experience as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there are certain realities we all have to face as runners when it comes to age. Like I said, I'm 53 years old. I know that if there was some kind of magic way to know that I could give myself perfect sleep, perfect nutrition, perfect cross training, and a perfect run training cycle, I'm still only going to be able to perform to a certain degree that probably wouldn't touch if I was a runner 20, 25 years ago. Of course, I'd probably be able to like go out, drink a dozen beers with my friends, go out the next day and still run a better time than I can at my best now. But, I mean, that's not what it's about. Life is about where you are now. Try to just be the best version of yourself in the now that you can be. You can't compare yourself to woulda, coulda, shoulda 20 years ago. Just go out there and do what you can. Compete within your age group. Try to do better than yesterday. But accept the fact that, time keeps rolling, and eventually we are all going to slow down. Now, with that lovely and uplifting message, let's move on to something else. Guys, let's talk about the silly little things we can do nutrition-wise to try to get faster for a particular race day, because we are supposed to be talking about tapering at least a little bit here. Like I said earlier, I'm happy to take the tangents, and if anybody's got a question that has nothing to do with tapering, I'm more than happy to jump in. So keep the questions rolling in the chat. But guys, like for example, 3 days ago, I started doping with beet juice.
Beet juice.
So yeah, gross, nasty
Vile.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you what, it is a scientifically proven vasodilator, meaning that it takes your veins and your corpuscles and all that fun stuff in your body, and it's actually proven to dilate your blood vessels. So what that means is that your heart doesn't have to work as hard to get more blood to the muscles. It's more efficient in delivering oxygen. And there you go, Ryan.
I have product placement. My
there you go, man. There you go. So what that means is you can run faster with less effort. So the three major studies that have been done on beet juice for distance runners so far have shown that the minimum is you have to get in 8 ounces a day for 7 to 10 days. That's why I started 3 or 4 days ago, and I will continue right up until the morning of the race, just to give myself a little 1 or 2% bump in my performance. So beyond that, there's the old carb loading thing. For 48 to 72 hours, you don't have to eat mountains of macaroni and pasta. You just want to up the amount, the percentage of your daily caloric intake. You want to go from like 50% carbs on your plate for that last 3 days before a race. You really want to kind of up that by like 20%, so that 3/4 of your plate looks are carbs. And leading into a race, you don't really, unlike your daily diet where you want complex carbohydrates that break down slowly, when you're coming into a race, you want those simple carbs. You want the white bread, you want the pasta to a certain degree. You want the stuff that's going to get through your system fast, convert into glycogen, store in your muscles and in your liver, and leave you well fueled to run hard and not run out of energy. And then weight loss is another thing, very kind of touchy subject, but yeah, you want to burn off as much body fat as you can before race day, but I'm not going to go any deeper than that, because that's, I think, justifiably a touchy subject, and that's up to all of us to find that balance. Michael, I'm going to bounce it to you first this time. Let's talk a little about nutrition. Have you been beet juice doping this time, or are there any other tricks that you want to pass along?
Yeah, so that's kind of funny. The beet juice thing, definitely did that last year. I got a little bit slower start this year, but I am on it the past couple of days. But it's kind of funny because like Jack didn't do it last year, and I did, and then we had this thing. He was like, "Well, I drank beer," and so we were like, "Beer versus beet juice."
That's pretty cool.
And it was
cheers to you, Michael. Cheers to you.
Yes.
Now, just to let everybody know, when Michael and Jack ran the the mini marathon at Myrtle Beach last year, Michael did beat Jack by like what? You got him by like 15 or 20 seconds, didn't you?
Yeah, something like that. A few seconds. So after the race, he was like, "Well, I guess that beet juice is really, really worth its weight in gold." Or whatever. But yeah, so I have started drinking that. I hate it. It's the worst thing in the world. It's an interesting question about the beet powder. If it's okay, if it's better tasting, I don't know, but I've not tried it. But I would be welcome to try anything other than that stuff. It's terrible. I found out I can't drink it on an empty stomach either. Did that. Not good. Not good at all. I have to drink it at night on a full stomach, or I cannot.
Just shoot it like Jameson, and it goes down. It's done.
Oh
right?
gosh. So bad.
That's funny. That's funny. It's like the poison, but unfortunately, it really does do the trick. So we all have to suffer through it.
Yeah, so I did have some pasta tonight. So I know it is a few days early, but I'm gonna try to like do it like tonight, maybe Thursday night, and then I'm not gonna eat pasta all week or anything like that, but maybe a couple times.
Very cool. Omar says he's got organic beets by Snap. Okay, one to keep an eye out for. Yeah, I've just been drinking the glass bottle of the organic beet juice.
That's what I get
from Walmart. And it gets the job done. I suffer through it every day. So, oh, what do we got here? Oh, wait, Ryan, do you juice the beets? Yeah. What? It looks like Ryan.
So yes,
some.
I have a few beet juice tricks that I'm doing. I am taking beet juice, not regularly. I'm not going to be like I take it every day, but I've learned how to disguise it into other things. So right now, and actually, not plugging the channel, but tomorrow we're putting out a great smoothie recipe that has beet juice in it and also pomegranate. So not only is beet powder good for you,
yep,
pomegranate is also another very good powder that you could be taking to help the antioxidants and things like that. And so this smoothie recipe that we have coming out, it's just a chock full of antioxidants, and you can actually you can mask some of the beet powder in it to take down the taste of it. Other things that I've done with the beet juice is that you can mix it with orange juice. So you put the beet juice,
yep,
so you get orange juice, mix the beet powder in with the orange juice, and that will also help with it too as well when you're taking it. It actually makes it fairly tolerable that way. So that's kind of another trick that I do with it. And then, for me, for my day to day, like Paul said, I start carb loading like today, just making sure that I'm eating the proper things nutrition wise. I'm having jokingly a beer tonight, but I am pretty much cutting out all alcohol for the week before a big run, because again, alcohol is dehydrates you out there on the course, so it's good to keep that at minimum, if not out. It was so funny enough though, and I was chatting with on the other day in the podcast with Claire. Beer is actually an antioxidant. So beer in limited quantities and consumption can be helpful for runners. And there's actually some history with beer. Back in the marathon days, when marathons first started, runners would actually normally have beer because of the carbs in the beer.
Gotcha.
So,
Michael,
yeah.
I want to remind you, Michael, to jump in with what's that beer that you're drinking now? It's like a non-alcoholic beer that is like chock full of stuff that's actually good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I was very interested in this topic. I have been for a little while, but so I was listening to some podcast. I believe it's Marathon Training Academy, but they were talking about, they had a nutritionist on, and just
what's his name? The Drive. It was his podcast.
Oh, was it?
I'm pretty sure. Now I'm going to blow his name. Keep talking.
Peter Attia.
There you go.
But anyways, so I do like beer, but I've pretty much cut it out this training cycle, or at least like almost 99% of it. And I switched to like this non-alcoholic beer.
Oh, yeah.
It's like athletic brewing or whatever.
I had the same stuff. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And I was like, man, this is great. But anyway, so I've been drinking, some of that, but I haven't really had any alcohol. I've noticed like better, not that I drank much alcohol, but I've noticed, just little things here and there, like that I'm sharper in my workouts or whatever. So we'll see.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. I want to try that stuff myself, but guys, I just wanted to add a quick note that if you just can't stand beet juice, as well as pomegranate juice, another great one, which in my opinion is harder to stomach, which is why I stick to the gross beet juice, is tart cherry juice. Unsweetened tart cherry juice has the same vasodilation characteristics as beet juice, but man, it is hard to swallow that stuff. So one thing I did want to point out that kind of is going to help us cross the line from talking about sleep and nutrition is I wanted to point this out, that even if you are a normal caffeine drinker or consumer, the week leading into a race, it's a great idea to either cut it back. If you're somebody that just absolutely cannot live without your morning coffee, I'm not going to tell you to cut it completely, because then you're going to be subject to headaches and all kinds of good fun stuff like that. But the more you can cut it back, and if you're just a casual caffeine drinker, cut it out for 7 days. And then when you mainline it on race morning, oh my God, you feel like nothing's going to stop you. Like you can just destroy the world without trying. So that's something I do. That also helps with your sleep, obviously. You know, some people maintain their coffee drinking, but they just make a rule that once noon comes, they're done. There's no more Coca-Cola allowed. There's no more, coffee, et cetera, et cetera. Somewhere in here it is. Omar asked a question, which leads me nicely. That's not the question. Where is it? Now I'm not going to be able to find it. I promise I won't leave.
Does it decrease its efficiency?
Oh no, here it is. Do you guys stretch a lot? So yeah, I think this is a great jumping off point for us to talk about cross training, strength training, and core work. For me, those are all distinctly different things. And I wanted to talk about the importance of each and sort of rate them in their importance as you become a more experienced runner. I think when you're a new runner, you have to start core training immediately. I think that, for me as a coach, I will not take on a client if they don't immediately voice their willingness to suffer the daily core routine. And the reason why that's so important, and I don't just start people off with like, okay, 7 days a week, get on it, suffer. You start like, I like to start people like 3 times a week, because, and then you just slowly build it out till it's just a daily habit. The reason it's so important is because you have to have a strong core, you have to have strong hips and strong glutes in order to maintain proper running form. And maintaining proper running form isn't just a nice to have kind of thing, in my opinion. When you get to the latter stages of a race, whether it's a 5K, your first 5K, or you're an experienced marathon runner, if you're not holding proper form, the odds of you injuring yourself in the later stages of a race go way, way, way up. So I'd rather see somebody run slower and maintain good form. And that all comes down to that daily core routine. And we're only talking about 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes a day. And it makes a huge difference. So with that said, we can talk about strength training and cross training a little bit more, but I just want to bounce it to you guys. Ryan, what kind of things do you do for your core training? And then what else do you do on top of that besides running?
Whatever Coach Paul tells me to do. I just do that. No, seriously though. So I do about a 20-minute, pretty much daily now, core routine before I run. I'm running now 5 days a week. And I do weights twice a week as well. So 2 days strength training, 4 to 5 days of core. I'm mixing it. I haven't done it for a while, but I'm going to get back to it again. Spinning. So I'm also spinning. So I find spinning is a great cross-training tool because spinning will take the lactic acid out of my legs, and you're working different muscles. So I really found that spinning helps when on those off days when you're not running. So those are basically, and like Paul, I do it first thing in the morning. I wake up and I get it done, and I get my core work done right away. And it's 15, 20 minutes and it's done. It's not like you're doing it for a 45-minute workout routine. It's 20 minutes of core work and you got her beat, right? So it's just building it into your system. So that's pretty much what I do for my routine is on the plan.
Very cool. And one thing I want to point out, when I take on new clients, and this was also true of Ryan, one of the very early things I like to do is have my clients film themselves on the treadmill from a side view so that I can get a look at what their natural running form is. And then we go back every couple of months and we take a look at what you look like. And it's amazing to watch people go from like this semi hunched over running position to, by a couple of months later, they've got this forward lean and they're running tall and they're just looking strong. And that's what a strong core can do for you. So, Michael, talk a little about what you do as far as cross training and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, you are muted. Okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry. I like to do the spin class, when I'm able. My time's very limited. I'm not consistent with anything. I just do the best that I can with the kids, because my wife, she works at night, and I've got the kids at night. So, and then I'm at work during the day. So it's very sparse. And I just try to squeeze what I can in. I did start doing like core stuff like at the gym whenever I was at the Y, like while the kids are in childcare. So, I'll just squeak it in there, before my run.
Gotcha. And I think your example is wonderful, because there are so many people, as I said earlier, that are new runners who are just picking it up sort of in their 30s. You get a lot of people who used to be athletic in high school and they sort of let things slip, and then they come back in their 30s and they want to do something to improve their health. And Michael has gone so far beyond just running to improve his health. In the space of, you've been running for what, 5-6 years now, Michael?
Yeah, about 6 years.
Yeah, and come such a long way so quickly. I'm sure by this time next year, Michael will be be running his first sub-90 half marathon. So really exciting times ahead. And that's only because he's always out there and he's always trying to fit in and do more with the limited time that he has. So,
I think I could definitely break more barriers if I did more strength training, more core work. I mean, I know like that's really like what's kind of holding me back, but we'll get there when I can. Exactly.
But I think you set a shining example for those people who are like really time crunched. Don't give up just because you can't do it every day. Don't feel like, it comes down to just like run training. It's all about consistency. If you couldn't get the workout in today, the next one is the most important. Just don't let yourself fall into that sort of, I missed one, so why not miss another one? Just always come back. The more consistent you can be, the better runner you're going to be. Guys, because we are coming up on an hour in just a few minutes, I want to move on to there's one thing I do want to say before we leave the whole cross training discussion. And that is, since we are in taper mode, have you guys been cutting back on that cross training in the last 7 days to sort of give your body that little bit of extra rest before we go into race day? I know I usually like to get in 2 strength workouts a week, and I do 7 core routines a week. That's kind of like the pattern that I fall into. So this week I already did it, but I only did 1 free weights workout, and I either cut the reps in half for the exercises that involve my legs, but my core routine will not stop. That's going to continue straight up and through race day. I do that every day, no matter what. Ryan and Michael, are you backing off any coming into a race day?
What do you want me to tell you?
Man, you're making me look like a slave driver over here.
Yes, Coach Paul, I'm backing off. Strava may not reflect that, but I'm trying to. No, I'm giving myself a bit of a breather and a bit of a break. So, like I said, I was talking to you a bit before we came on that there was a 5K scheduled in my plan for tomorrow, but I'm going to set it out and take that as a rest day. At this point, there's no more benefits and gains up until Saturday. So the biggest thing right now is R&R and resting up and just, enjoying the moment.
Very cool. How about you, Michael? Are you just kind of
yeah. So I haven't done anything. I haven't done any strength or anything in several weeks. But what I will say, like when we did that peak week, at least my peak week, you did the 16 miler with me. That took that took a lot out of me. That was everything I had.
Yeah. You did a
So
wonderful job with it, by the way.
the next week was the first week of my taper. I cut one run completely. So I only got 4 runs in last week, and then this week, I'm feeling fine, but I am gonna cut one of the runs. So I ran today, and I'm gonna take 2 rest days, tomorrow and the next day, and then do 2 miles Friday as a shakeout. So I just feel like my body really needs rest over anything else.
I love that
So
awareness. I love that self-awareness. Very good for you.
yeah,
And I also, you brought up a point that I think is important for other runners to think about. I always have my runners, if they need extra days off during the taper, of course, take it. You know your body better than anybody. You know when you need the rest in order to be ready for race day. But one thing I always do tell people to do is if you're going to take days off, take them earlier in the week leading up to the race. I always like to have my runners run the day before the race. Just a short little shakeout, usually 3 miles easy, just to keep the legs fresh, to keep the blood flowing so that the muscles will heal faster. And you feel less clunky when, you don't want to hit the start line of a race not having run in 48 hours or more, because then you spend the first couple of miles in your race just kind of trying to get your legs back under you. It's much better if you've kind of run the day before, and it's just when you get to the start line, you feel like, oh, it's just another day of running. You feel fresh. So with that said, guys, I do not want to stick around for much longer than an hour, but I would love to talk a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or so, about the mental preparation for any kind of race day. Visualizations, picturing everything that's going to happen at the race when you're feeling good, those early miles when you want to run as fast as you can, but you're holding back, knowing that you've got many more miles to go. Picturing those later miles when everything's going to hurt and how you're going to deal with that. What tools, mental tools, do you carry with you in order to get through those tougher miles? Michael, I'm going to bounce it to you first. What kind of things do you do? Do you do visualizations in the days leading up to the race, or do you have any kind of mantras that help you out when things get rough? Anything else you want to add to the discussion is, it's wide open.
yeah, for sure. I mean, so I do like try to visualize like coming through like certain mile markers or the finish like at a certain time. I've got a time goal in mind. I mean, I said it pretty much just a PR, but I would like to, yeah. I mean, I would like to crack an hour and 34 minutes, but like I said, I don't know if my fitness is there. We'll see. I'm gonna go for it, but if I don't, we'll see what happens. But I just like to, I will try to visualize everything, and then it's gonna get really tough. Last year I was able to negative split the last 5K, which was great. I had it in me, and I hopefully that's the plan again this year. So when it gets down to that, like I sort of like think back, and this time I'm going to think back on that 16 miler, or I had a 14 miler. I had an aerobic 14 miler that was really tough. I ran with a friend of mine, and we ran about 8 flat pace, and that's a tough pace for me. It's obviously it's not race pace, but to hold that for 14 miles and on the hills of Lake Wiley and whatnot, it was very tough. So
and when you're not rested too, I mean, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's not like 8-minute miles, even though your race pace is 7 minutes and 10 seconds per mile. 8-minute miles is tough when you've been training for 12 weeks in a row, and your legs are going into that run dead tired, and you're just grinding it out anyway. So, of course. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So I just think back on those key long runs really for me, but it usually, I mean, I've been on the channel a good bit, but if you followed along with some of the series, you sort of know my like weak point is that aerobic capacity. So like my legs can go fast, but I struggle when it gets down to it, the breathing and that aerobic sort of fitness. So that's why, I'm doing 16-mile long runs for a half marathon.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. So yeah, I mean, you were talking about something when the going gets tough in the later miles, you look back on some of those harder workouts from your training cycle. And that is a wonderful tool. That's something, it's called the cookie jar. And I encourage all my runners to, well before the race, try to come up with a list of the 3 hardest workouts you did in your training block, and use that as motivation when you're grinding and it hurts. And the only thing you really want to do in the middle of that race is just stop or slow down significantly to make that pain stop. Go to that cookie jar and recite to yourself in your mind, oh, I did that 16-miler on hills when I was dead tired, but I got it done. Oh, I went to the track that time in week 7 and I grinded out those 1,600-meter reps, even though I didn't feel like rolling out of bed. And that's the kind of thing that will keep you rolling when it gets really tough out there. Ryan, I'd like to hear from you on this. I know you meditate and you do all kinds of mental work.
So for me, where I power out still is when I get up to that 17, 18K mark in kilometers. I'm still struggling with the longer distance running. I visualize, why am I doing this? I visualize, why am I out here to start with? And that's the goal of Boston. So I'll visualize that medal, and I'll visualize that is what I want. This is what I'm doing this for. Others, I can visualize someone who, like for instance, when I did Houston, I had a very good friend of mine who passed away, and I visualized the struggles that he went through. And I said to myself, suck it up. John went through a lot more worse than what you did. You can do this, right? And I think to myself, you can push through that pain point if you just put yourself in that right mental space, and that's where the meditation comes in for me. The realization of what your goals are, realizing how far you've come in your journey, and just pushing through, just being able to get through that we all call it the wall. When you hit that wall, and like when I did Houston, I sat there for 5 minutes, and my coach at the time was like, "Are you gonna be okay?" I thought I was throwing in a towel. I said, "I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I can do it." And I thought about, John and someone who meant a great deal to me, and that pushed me through to the end to be able to run. The last 0.5 miles of that run, I remember, I think I told you about this, I was actually literally crawling on the ground to get to that 21.5 kilometer to get it. And the funny thing was enough, that was still my second best half marathon.
Wow.
Even after stopping. That's how far out I went. I went way too quickly, and that's just how far out I went.
I got you.
Yeah.
But I love your advice. A lot of people call that making sure you know your why. Why are you out there?
Yeah, what's your why?
And understanding what your motivations are at a very deep level. Guys, I just want to talk a little bit about mantras, and then we're going to get out of here for the night, I think.
Yep.
Mantras are just kind of like these short little sayings that you can repeat in your head when things get really painful, really bad out there, to try to distract your mind from that negativity, to take your concentration away from the pain and just put it on anything else. Repeating something, a short little phrase that you find positive, that means something to you, that really means a lot to you, is very important. In the past, I have a lot of mantras that they've changed over time, but I used to use I am strong. Something that simple worked for me at one time. On the sillier side, I've even used 10 more minutes till pizza just to get me through that last push of a marathon. One, just to stress the point that a mantra doesn't have to be something that's personal and secret to you. I've borrowed mantras from other people that I've heard that really just clicked for me. One podcast that I really have enjoyed in the last year is Ryan Hall's podcast, Run Free. He took a break for a while, but they're back with new episodes now. But one mantra that Ryan Hall used to use back in his marathon competition days that just absolutely works for me, and that I will be repeating to myself, especially in the early miles of the half marathon this coming Saturday, is relax and flow. There's just something about those 3 words that just makes you for me, just makes me more fluid. It just, suddenly my shoulders go down. Suddenly my arm swing just relaxes, and I stop reaching with my feet, and I just let my body do what it naturally does. And I'm moving faster with less effort. So relax and flow just does the trick for me. And thank you, Ryan Hall. With that, guys, I want to leave you the opportunity to sign off. If there's any place on social media that people can find you, or any place that they can ask you questions after this is all over, I'd love you to share all that information now. And just so you know, in the show notes below this video, I've already got the links to your YouTube channel, Ryan, and I've got a link to Michael's Instagram so that people can follow along with his running journey as well. And I know for a fact that everybody on this screen is also on Strava, so you can find us all there. But Ryan, tell us a little bit more about your YouTube channel and where else people can find you.
Sure. So you're talking about mantras. So I just wanted to go for me too. I was just going to say what I have, and I used to have it. I got to put it on the door again here at the house. I have to say, is the choices you make today affect the results that you seek tomorrow. And that's my motto, and that's what I live by. And it's whatever decisions you make at the moment now is going to affect what it is you want to do later on. So it is true in running as in life. So that's sort of the motto that I live by. And for me, you can find me on Runner's Corner, and we have a great channel, and we talk all things nutrition. We have some shoe reviews on there as well. So check us out on Runner's Corner, and on Instagram it's Iron Legs Canada. And love to chat more. Shoot me a note. My Gmail and all that's on the channel, and hope to hear from you soon.
Very cool. Thank you, sir. And how about you, Michael?
Yeah, so let's talk about mantras for a second. This one just came to me a few weeks back. I don't know if anybody out there is like a football fan, or they saw the Eli Manning as he went undercover to try out as a walk-on for Penn State. Well, he used the alias of Chad Powers. And it's pretty funny. It's like a 20-minute YouTube thing. If you have time, take a look at it. But anyways, he's running the 40, and he's like, I don't know how old he is now, 45 or something like that. But he's running the 40, and they like zoom in on him, and he's like, it's a joke, but he goes, think fast, run fast, think fast, run fast. and so like every workout since then, that's just been like grinding through my head. Think fast, run fast, think fast.
That's so cool. That has the bonus of being something that can make you smile and just take you out of that negative mood when things are hurting. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like, I still laugh. Like, I've watched that thing like a couple times through. I just thought it was the greatest. Yeah, so that's a mantra running through my head. And then but yeah, that's really all I have. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited, nervous, all the things that you're supposed to be. But thanks for having me on.
Michael, thank you for being here. Ryan, thank you for being here. You guys have been awesome guests. You've made this easy for me. So, with that said, I want to thank not just you guys, but hey, before we sign off, let me say a quick hello. Hey, Reese, how you doing, man? Good to see you, hailing from all the way over in the Southern Hemisphere. Guys, and everybody who participated in the chat tonight, thank you. Thank you for making this a great conversation. For everybody who's watching after the fact, again, if you want to drop a comment below, all of us would be more than happy to get back to you by email or whatever your preferred communications are, whether that be a direct message in Instagram or whatever the case may be. Just let us know, and we'd be happy to answer your questions. With that said, folks, my usual sign off is get healthy, stay strong, and keep pushing. Thanks for being with us tonight. I will be delivering the results from the Mayberry Half Marathon and 10K early next week, so keep your eyes open on my channel. If
Dun, dun, dun,
if
dun.
you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I've already talked about the comments and the questions. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I just want to take this last opportunity to encourage you to do so. And with that, folks, thank you and good night.
Good night, all.
Good night.